Blood and Sweat, But Never Tears by Jamie Lynch. The day was finally here, the day I've been working so hard toward for months. I showed up to the gym, early as usual. It was eerily quiet. No timers or round bells, no thumps from the absorption of fists on the heavy bags, no rhythmic pounding from the speed bags swinging back and forth at about 100 miles an hour, no gasps for air between rounds. Silence. The air was cold and dry compared to the usual heat and dampness from sweaty bodies. It was almost unrecognizable. Breathe. Just breathe, I told myself over and over in my head. Coach Bob peeked his head around the corner. "Hey, Blondie, ready for tonight?" he said with the biggest smile I've ever seen him wear. I was surprised to hear him call me Blondie, a nickname coined by some of my teammates, because he didn't think it was tough enough. All I could do was nod my head in agreement, my heart already thumping. Coach Bob was preparing for me and the rest of my teammates competing with me tonight, filling our bags with the necessities: headgear, mouthguard, fall protector, shoes. The gym quickly filled with people and excitement. Most of those people were my calm and collected teammates. The rest were supporters of the team. We all packed our stuffed bags into the trunks of the procession. The cavalry was off. I sat patiently in the back seat, trying to keep my mind off tonight. I trained for months. I was physically prepared. Why not mentally? So many thoughts were running through my head all at once. I shoved my headphones into my ears and cranked up the volume. Maybe I just needed to pump myself up. I clenched my eyes shut, listening to the music and hoping to concentrate on something else. To make matters worse, we got stuck in traffic, as far as the eye could see, on the highway entering the city. "Great," I thought I said in my head. "This is why we leave early. Don't worry," Coach Bob said from the front passenger seat. Don't worry. I feel like that's the only thing I've done all day. Maybe I was just anxious to get there. Oh, how badly I wanted just to get there. I tried to convince myself to relax. Breathe. Just breathe. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, we made it. I leaped out of the car. I couldn't sit anymore. Coach Bob looked at me and winked. We walked in together to check in. I filled out all of my paperwork and weighed in, almost 118 on the dot. At least that took some of the pressure off. I walked up to the final table to pick up my uniform. There were only 2 colors, red or blue. I didn't get to pick, of course. They were already predetermined. Red. I was told to try it on to see if it fit. I wandered over to the women's restroom nearby and put it on. The shorts were tight at the waist with a white drawstring to make them even tighter. A title patch was sewn onto the thick waistband. The rest of the shorts were wide and hung down to my knees. They made my legs look long and very skinny. The shirt was not much better. I tucked the wide tank into my shorts and looked at myself in the mirror. The outfit was not flattering, to say the least, especially on a girl. Boxing was a man's sport anyway, right? At least, that's what my mom thought. She never understood why I liked boxing so much and was concerned that I would mess up my teeth she spent so much money on with braces. This was the first fight of mine that my mom had attended, a very important one at that. She couldn't stomach watching me get hit in the face or see blood gushing from my nose. Still, I wanted to prove to her that girls can fight too. The thought that she would be in the crowd, watching for the first time, motivated me to perform at my maximum potential. I walked out of the bathroom, tacky uniform and all, to meet back up with my coach and the rest of the team. I turned the corner and saw the ring. It was the centerpiece of the large room, spotlights shining down on it and nothing else. The ring was raised up about 5 feet off the ground, but seemed so much taller. Our ring at the gym was the same size, but this one appeared so massive, so official. My nerves began to ease. I was so ready for this. I jammed my headphones back into my ears, focused, and waited. The crowds of people began to shuffle in and find their seats. The room was filling and buzzing with activity. Glancing over at the entrance, I picked a familiar face out of the crowd. My mom. I jumped up and sprinted over to her. She hugged me apprehensively. We walked back over to where I was sitting with my team, and I introduced everyone to her. She and Coach Bob exchanged an approving smile. After, my mom hiked up the bleachers to find a seat. Back to business. I had to stay focused. The roster came out, and my match was the 4th. Reality sunk in that this was really happening. Breathe. Just breathe. My hands were wrapped, and it was time to warm up. Coach Bob pulled me to the side and went through some drills. "You got this," he said. "Just go out there and have fun." He threw my team hoodie over my shoulders, and we rejoined the crowd. One more bout, and it was my turn. Breathe. Just breathe. "Let's go," Coach Bob said. I stood up. My knees felt weak. A flood of emotions ran through me all at once. Fear, nervousness, anxiousness, excitement, motivation, and empowerment. Walking up to the ring, I felt nauseous. The room was completely dark besides the well-lit ring and the exits. It reminded me of an antique movie with flash bulbs going off at various distances. I heard some people from the nearby crowd saying, "We're cheering for you!" or "Go Red!" Breathe. Just breathe. Waiting for my cue to run up the steps and into the ring felt like time stopped. Everything was in slow motion. Then there it was. My heart was beating out of my chest. I stood in the ring with 5 other people. My coach, the announcer, the referee, my opponent, and her coach. I hopped from one foot to the other, shaking my muscles loose. I couldn't even focus on what the announcer was saying until I heard, "Fighting out of the red corner, from Team Fistlaw, Jamie Lynch." I raised my gloved fist into the air as the crowd cheered. Breathe. Just breathe. My opponent and I tapped gloves before the fight as a customary sign of respect. I could see in her eyes that she was feeling the same exact thing as me. This was probably the biggest moment in both of our lives. We walked back to our corners and waited for the first bell to ring. Everything around us fell silent and dark. The only things I could hear were my coach's voice and my heartbeat. Round 1. Everything melted away. The people, the fear. I wanted this more than anything, and I was determined to take it. I needed to conserve my energy, though. There were still 2 more rounds to make it through. I was much taller than my opponent, a clear advantage. I was adding the points up in my head. The round ended, and I went back to my corner with Coach Bob waiting for me. "Great job, kid. Remember to keep your hands up. You got this." I had so much energy. I was so ready. I turned, waiting for the bell to start round 2. Even though I'd tuned out all distractions, there was one more voice I could hear from far in the crowd. "Go, Jamie, go!" It was my mom. A smile came across my face, and I gave my all that round. 2 in the bag. It was the final round. I would be lying if I said my muscles weren't burning and my lungs weren't about to explode. My coach rubbed the blood from my face and said, "Breathe. Just breathe. It's your last round. Go out there and make yourself proud." I didn't care how tired I was. There was only 1 round left, 2 minutes left, until the champion was declared, and there was no way I was going to give that title away. We walked out to the center of the ring, both obviously still winded from the previous 2 rounds. I was not about to give up. The last round always feels the longest, but I told myself I could make it. Suddenly, my coach pounded his fist twice on the floor of the ring, signifying there was only 10 seconds left in the round. My opponent and I both heard it, and we were throwing fists faster and harder than any other point in the match. It was the last attempt. I staggered to my corner for the last time. My coach wiped the blood and sweat from my face and took off my headgear and gloves. It was the moment of truth. We all waited patiently for the judges to tally the points and give their scoring sheets to the announcer. My opponent and I met for the last time at the center of the ring. the referee holding each of our hands in one of his, waiting for the winner to be announced. Finally, the announcer came over the loudspeakers. "The winner of the 2011 Chicago Golden Gloves Women's Bantam Division." My heart stopped. The entire building went still. "By unanimous decision, standing out of the red corner, Jamie Lynch." The referee raised my fist into the air. I jumped with excitement, smiling the biggest smile of my life. My coach gave me a bear hug, and we both went over to shake our opponents' hands as they congratulated us. The crowd was roaring, and I could hear every single person. I was handed my trophy and fought to hold back tears. I wished I could live in this moment forever. I ran back to my team, trophy in hand. Everyone embraced and commended me. My mom was there, waiting patiently as I had to hear the victor. Her eyes were full of tears when she hugged me. She looked so proud. I still fought to hold back tears. Blood and sweat, but never tears. Jamie is studying elementary education at Northern Illinois University. She enjoys music, the company of her ferret, and any downtime she gets. She has written this memoir as inspiration that anything is possible with hard work and determination. She hopes to captivate an audience of all ages with her multimedia memoir.